Okay, so welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting, I think. Virtual economies in gaming.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a ton of stuff, research, articles, news stories, all sorts of things, really. And some of them are honestly pretty wild. Like we're talking about people making and losing fortunes
Yeah.
all inside video games. So,
Yeah. It's a whole, it's become a whole world unto itself, really. And it's
yeah,
something that I think most people just aren't really aware of.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to uncover. I mean, what's actually going on? What the important things? What's intriguing? What's honestly kind of unsettling about all of this? Have you ever heard of anyone making a real world fortune from virtual items?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
And it's probably, I mean, it's way more common than you think.
Way more. Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
So, I guess the thing that fascinates me is how these virtual economies have evolved. Like, they're not just simple trades anymore.
Right.
Like back in the day, I don't know if you remember trading a sword for a shield or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now we're talking about complex systems, like real world implications, like think billion-dollar markets, virtual real estate empires. We're talking about like trade networks, all within these video games.
I mean, it's really mind-blowing when you think about it. I mean, I remember the days of like Diablo 2, right? Like just trading, for a better sword or whatever.
Right.
But now you're telling me that people are like buying virtual spaceships for like the price of an actual car.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at EVE online, for example. Like
Yeah.
those ships can go for tens of thousands of dollars, easy.
Wow. Okay. So what caused this? How did we get from there to here?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with like the rise of massively multiplayer online games, MMOs.
Right, memo.
These games, they have these persistent online worlds where players are interacting, collaborating, forming these communities and naturally trading. And this really created like the perfect environment for virtual economies to just explode.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like think about some of those early MMOs, like RuneScape, for example.
Yeah, RuneScape, I remember that.
They saw this huge rise in what they call gold farming.
Gold farming, okay.
So players would spend hours like grinding away for in-game currency
Wow.
and then turn around and sell it for real money.
Oh, okay, so that's like the first time we really saw
Yeah.
virtual economies like becoming a serious business?
Oh, absolutely. Gold farming, I mean, it just blew up into this massive industry, especially in developing countries.
Yeah.
It provided a source of income for a lot of people.
Right.
But unfortunately, it often involves like exploitative working conditions,
Oh, yeah.
really low wages. It's kind of a dark side to these virtual riches.
Yeah, for sure.
Games like World of Warcraft, they've been battling this for years, banning accounts, trying to like squash what they call bot infestations.
Bot infestations, what's that?
Basically, armies of programs designed to just farm gold automatically. So
Oh, wow. It's like a whole digital arms race going on.
exactly, it's wild.
Okay, so we've talked about gold farming,
Yeah.
but that's just one side of it, right?
Yeah.
What about loot boxes?
Yeah.
That's something that's been pretty controversial.
Yeah, loot boxes, that's a whole other can of worms.
So what are they exactly?
Well, you can think of them as like these mystery boxes that you buy with real money, hoping to get something rare or valuable, like a special item or skin for your character.
Okay.
And it's that randomness, that thrill of the unknown that makes them so appealing. But, it can also be really dangerous.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like they tap into some pretty powerful psychological tricks, like the sunk cost fallacy.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, basically it's that feeling, like I've already invested so much, I might as well keep going.
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
So they're kind of designed to be addictive, especially for like younger players who might not really understand the risks.
Yeah, that's scary.
And that's why you have some countries like Belgium, they've actually banned loot boxes completely.
Oh, wow.
They just classify them as gambling, straight up.
So is that the answer? Just ban them.
Well, it's tough. I mean, where do you draw the line between like virtual economies and real world gambling?
Right. That's a good question.
It's a tricky situation.
It is. But I mean, while we're talking about all the bad stuff, we can't just ignore, the positive aspects of these virtual economies, can we?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, there's so much creativity and ingenuity going on. Like Players are coming up with these elaborate schemes, heists, building businesses. It's amazing.
It's like they're living in some kind of like real-world Wall Street thriller or something.
It really is. I mean, remember that insane battle in EVE online that cost someone like over $300,000 in real-world money?
No way, really.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Basically, these two massive player alliances, they clashed in this huge space battle.
Wow.
And, like, virtual ships were destroyed, but the real-world financial impact was just massive.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it really just highlights how the lines between virtual and real value, they're just getting blurrier and blurrier.
Yeah.
And it puts game developers in a really tough spot. They have to find a balance between keeping their in-game economies stable and also, making money.
Right, because they still got to make money.
Exactly.
Okay, but beyond just the economics, there's a human element to all of this, isn't there?
Definitely.
These economies, they're shaping communities, they're impacting how people spend their money, how they interact with each other. It's a whole social thing.
Oh, it's huge. You see, like, these really strong communities forming around these games with people connecting through, trading, collaborating, helping each other out. And like I said, people are making real-world fortunes. I mean, there are people out there who are Second Life millionaires.
Right.
But then there's the other side of that coin, the addiction, the potential for financial harm, it's all there.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing. And it's not just limited to one country or region, right? This is global.
Oh, totally. These virtual economies are connecting people all over the world. Like, it's a whole new form of globalization, all driven by gaming.
It's amazing when you think about it.
It really is. I mean, think about it. The trade of these virtual items, the currencies, it crosses borders, it fosters economic exchange, but also cultural exchange.
Right. So, like, what kind of opportunities does that open up and what kind of challenges?
Oh, well, there are a ton. I mean, you have to think about things like regulation, making sure it's fair for everyone involved. But the potential is huge.
Absolutely. And then on top of all of that, we have things like blockchain technology and NFTs entering the scene.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Games like Axie Infinity, right?
Axie Infinity,
Where
right?
you can actually like own your in-game assets.
Exactly. That's the big thing.
So how does that work exactly?
So it uses these things called NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens. They're basically like unique digital assets, and they're, verifiable on a blockchain, which makes them super secure and transparent.
Okay.
So it cuts out the middleman, gives players real ownership, and opens up all sorts of new ways for both players and developers to, like, make money.
That sounds revolutionary. But isn't there some controversy around, like, the environmental impact of blockchain technology?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. And then there are things like, volatility in the market, accessibility issues for people who aren't as tech savvy. There's definitely challenges that need to be addressed.
I mean, it seems like we're standing at the edge of, like, a massive shift in how we view and interact with these virtual economies. So, like, what about the future? What role will things like AI and the metaverse play in all of this?
Well, you can just imagine, right? You have these virtual economies driven by AI and machine learning all operating within these crazy, immersive virtual worlds like the metaverse. We could see like hyper-realistic simulations of real-world markets. We could have personalized economic experiences, tailored to each individual player. Maybe even AI-powered financial advisors within these games.
So it could be really beneficial,
Yeah.
but also a little scary. Like, are we ready for that?
That's the big question. I think we're going to need to have some serious conversations about, regulation, ethics, all of that, as these virtual worlds just become more intertwined with our lives.
For sure. I mean, should we
Yeah.
be treating these virtual economies like real-world financial systems?
Yeah, I mean, how do we protect players but also encourage innovation?
Right.
There's a lot to think about.
Yeah. So you listening out there, what does this all mean for you? Virtual economies, I mean, they're more than just games at this point.
Yeah.
We're talking about complex systems with real-world consequences. And there are incredible opportunities here, but also ethical dilemmas that we're only just starting to wrap our heads around.
And as these virtual worlds become, more and more a part of our lives, I think it's really important to approach them with a good balance of enthusiasm. Be excited about the possibilities, but also be cautious. The choices we make now are going to shape the future of these digital spaces.
So yeah, we want to hear from you. Have you ever participated in a virtual economy? What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? What do you think the future holds? As these worlds continue to evolve, what role do you see them playing in our lives?